I'm gonna make someone do it then. 'Cause
I
I've
can try, but you need to tell me what to do. But
okay, I can help out. So thanks everyone for joining the Falco Community Call. Remember, we are a CNCF project. We adhere to the code of conduct, so please be respectful to each other. I've dropped in the HackMD link in the chat, so please sign in. And then Ajmal, if you want to open, you can share your screen if you'd like of the community notes, and then we can go down the agenda.
Sounds good. Okay, it looks like Jackie is the first on the agenda. So
yeah, so for KubeCon EU, the CNCF has started also distributing information for the project. So one of the things that they've asked as well is for a 30-second update video about Falco, and this would be played during the project keynote update section. So we one of the things that, you know, as a community we were wondering is who is interested. Like, one of the things we could do is write a script together and agree on what the top level key messages are and highlights that we want to do, and then if you know, opening it up to the community too, if anybody wants to be the one that records it, and just also getting guidance from the core maintainers as well on what they've done in the past before for this type of ask from the CNCF.
is there anyone interested? I mean, among co-maintainers, that would be really good. And contributors, I guess.
I don't think we did. I mean, we did the video in the past, so it's a
Oh,
good,
you haven't done it. Okay.
yeah, it's a good opportunity to start, I guess.
Mhm.
It's only like a slide usually for us.
Okay.
Sorry, I just joined the call. Sorry, so I may have missed a few minutes. My bad.
Oh, sorry, who's speaking?
I'm Rashid. I just joined the call, and I'm late. So
Oh,
Yeah, no worries. No worries. So, Jackie, I have a question regarding the video. Is it like 30 seconds just about Falco, or is it just like it's a lot of slides put together in 30 seconds video?
No. It's just an update on the project. So it's 30 seconds. They do recommend, like, if you want to have a back screen, but it's not going through slides.
I see. Okay, so maybe someone who like kind of represents the community very well. I don't know, Jason, maybe it's you, Leo, Melissa. I'm just putting names out there.
Like for me, I would need to go through a lot of legal approvals, so I'm not sure if I could make it on time. Like a lot of hoops, like at least like 5-6 approvals. It's always a pain.
Oh yeah, the legal and the PR.
Basically, I think this video will be just slides with animations between. I think they are requesting a 30-second video just to enforce all communities to have the same length for their project.
Okay, Jackie, I think it would be good if you showed the example from previous.
Yeah, I'll drop in the link of the keynote from North America. Let me look it up. You know, somebody gave it to us yesterday. I can't remember who.
And yeah, we still don't have any person, but
That's okay. I mean, just ping me off. I can work offline with people and we can move on to the next. Yeah, because I don't want to hold up the meeting or make a decision here. The kiosk, one of the things that I just want to highlight to the community is historically the Project Pavilion has been very low traffic. So, a discussion that we had as well with some of the team was, is it really like worth the investment of people's time to staff it the entire day? So we are proposing a few ideas on how to leverage this space. I'm gonna, after this call, and I'll also drop it in the notes, I'll drop in kind of the proposal schedule that we want to try to do at this kiosk. And as well as like a sign up sheet if anybody is interested in volunteering. And what times would they, if folks are attending KubeCon EU, what times would they be available as well? One of the ideas that we've been floating around is doing maybe like really short type of lightning talks at the kiosk with a live demo. So if anybody's interested in that, let me know. I think it would be one way to really try to engage and attract community members there. My plan, once we align on what we want to do at the kiosk, would be to amplify this schedule via our social channels on Twitter and LinkedIn. And same for the project meeting. I've got an outline. We have 2 hours for this meeting on the 18th from 10:30 to 12:30. I'd love it as a community, we can get feedback on this. And again, I can also open an issue on the proposed agenda for this. Oh, it's actually 10:30 to 12:30. No worries. Because I think this is an opportunity to just, host a space for a community to meet. But I think it's also an opportunity for us to educate newcomers on what Falco is. Another idea I had, and this is something I'd love feedback from the maintainer group, is would this be an interesting and good place for us to do maybe like a discussion around the roadmap? It's like we collect feedback from the community and attendees on what sort of features, what do they expect, or what do they want from the community. I think that was something that could be interesting for us to do. And then the last section would also be like meet our maintainers and ask them anything. And so it would be an open Q&A session wrapping up that project meeting. So that's the proposal that I'm putting forward. And like I said, I'll open an issue and share it on the Slack now that we're a little bit more ready to do that. I don't know, Jason, I put the maintainer track in there. I don't know if you have an update there, but that's also one thing that is already on the schedule. So I will be starting to do social media promotion on Twitter and LinkedIn. I haven't done it yet because I know, Melissa, I don't know if you've gotten final approval from Apple yet. So on anything. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't ruffle anybody's feathers before doing that. Okay, cool. So I'll hand it over to Jason. I don't know if you have an update on maintainer track or if we need to touch on that at all.
Maybe on the schedule, I saw that the final schedule put us on Wednesday, I think at 4 p.m. or something, which is a good time compared to the Friday evening that we got the Q&A. So I think that's the biggest update so far. We are working with all the speakers to get our outline in shape. We'll give you updates in the future, I guess.
Yeah, so maybe I can add to it too. So I also talked to Emily Fox. So I do have regular one-on-ones with her, and she proposed to, oftentimes it's the sales pitch, what Falco is, how cool it is, and that also applies to other projects. But what a better format could be is really talking about how we maintainers work together, how the community can get engaged, how Falco falls into the whole ecosystem. as well as what happens on day 2 after you deploy Falco. What is the things you have to look out for? What are the gotchas? So I'm just putting it out here in case someone has some more feedback. Just to kind of like people walk out and they're excited about getting involved, potentially contribute, technical or non-technical contributions, and also know how to use it and integrate in what they get out of it instead of just outlining the capabilities on slides or so.
I think it's great. It's all, I think it's all, it also is the first time that we have 5 speakers in a panel. So it's a good opportunity for like a wider group. So I like that. It's a good feedback.
A follow-up question I had for the speakers post your session, do we want to start maybe routing people and letting them know, hey, you can come to the Falco kiosk and ask additional questions to the speakers? Because that's also something I can start promoting over social media.
Yeah, I mean, I will be supportive. Usually in the past, we had some people asking questions after the session. However, it usually happens that people just jump into the next session. So there's not that much of a spare time in that moment. So routing people to the kiosk for extra guidance or, you know, last minute thoughts, that's good. Especially given that we are on a Wednesday, so they have 2 days to do that. So
Yeah, I just wanted to, you know, run this by you and get confirmation because I don't want to promote it and then like none of the speakers show up. Cool. Thank you.
Jackie, just one suggestion. Can we put all this schedule into the community repository? Because it would be very useful to have a schedule that is easy to look at. Yeah,
Once we wrap up and I just get some time, I'm gonna open some issues for everything. And so then the community can comment on the agenda and the schedule and all of that information.
great, thank you.
Cool, thank you, Jackie. Do you want to review the social cards now or?
No, it was just more a reminder if folks can put in their feedback. We have created some social cards and that's it. We don't need to review it.
Okay, just sounds good. Next is Marut in the agenda.
Yeah. So here, I won't take much time. Just wanted to give you some information and need some help from the community. So we've been, me and my team at Clark have been trying to run the Falco in our production. So we've been trying a lot of stuff and just we have tuned a few of the rules. We have added a few of the rules which are according to our use cases. So what we were actually planning, it's been a while, 2-3 months, we've been working on Falco and putting the Falco in our production and make more use out of it. So what we were thinking, like if we were just planning to make the rules that we have written custom rules for to out as a open source to for the community to review, so we can also get some help there. Okay, what rules and things have been there. So possibly by end of the day today or tomorrow we'll have I'll just post the GitHub link in the channel, and if you guys can help us in just reviewing, okay, just the standard rules that we have been facing, so it will be really helpful for us. And it's in the project internally. I just proposed to my team that okay, I was knew about the Falco, so yeah, we've been trying to do that. So just need that kind of help from community just to get some review around the rules. That's about it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Just to summarize, we have some custom rules and you want to contribute to the community and you want how to go about that.
Yes. So we actually want to contribute to the community and so we just want the review will help us in okay, the standard way or what we can improve there. So it will be very helpful for us too and the community as well.
I don't know, maybe just blurring in. So I would love to, Marut, to kind of come up with some better criteria of when a Falco rule is good for upstream contribution, because sometimes you have to really tune them for your environment. So I don't know if you have ideas and you can post them in there, that would be awesome.
Absolutely, yes, yes. And like your vision would also be helpful. So, okay, what all things would be needed? So it would be really helpful for us
Mhm.
when we contribute, so we can set some standard when we write some custom rules. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, but by the way, I would add that with the new distribution system, we can implement multiple rule set. I mean, there can be rules that can still make sense to be upstreamed, but still not in the default rule set of Falco. So I believe that your proposal is very good. Let's talk together and evaluate these rules.
Sure, sure, sure. Yep.
Marut, are you in the Falco Slack channel?
Yeah, I am there. I'm there.
Okay, like you can also solicit feedback and there, like if like
Yes.
it's ready, you can ping everyone there and
Yeah, I would start from there. Yeah, I would start from there, but just I was just wanted to have a question there. Yeah.
You can also open an issue to the rules repository if you want.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Yep, we'll do that.
Awesome. Thanks, Marut. Jackie, you up again?
Sorry. Yeah, just a reminder to the community that I've opened the issue for nominations for Contributor of the Month for March. So if you've got anybody you want to nominate in the next few weeks, please do so. Thank you.
I think the winner gets some swag, right?
Yeah, a hoodie,
So
a really smart hoodie.
Jason, you're up next.
Yeah, there's the Google Summer of Code, which is an opportunity I think the Falco project skipped at least last year because I don't recall any application. And the CNCF usually drives the application for all the project in their umbrella. So Falco is one of them. Basically, this is most likely an opportunity to get sort of an intern to contribute to the project. So getting a new member in the community and potentially, develop a full-fledged project instead of like a tiny contribution. So given that the deadline is close, I think it's by the end of this week, I took the liberty to try and put down my idea. In the PR, we can also make a secondary PR to add other ideas. I saw many projects posting more than one. So there's plenty of room if anyone wants to propose something. The idea that I proposed here is to create a playground similar to the Go playground to develop Falco rules and eventually test them using capture files or something. So the cool thing is that the idea is to compile Falco in WebAssembly and run it for rule validation right inside your browser. So this stuff will just be a static page running in people's browsers. And that will be cool. It can also be good material for the WebAssembly day at the next KubeCons. Feasibility has been already assessed, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big project to come through, and a big stretch would also be to reuse part of the development if we make it to potentially integrate with other IDEs such as Visual Studio Code that support WebAssembly. So, yeah, Thomas, I saw your hand.
Just a basic question. If we have WebAssembly functions to check the validity of rules, do you think we could also integrate that in our CI to check if the rules proposed by the community are valid or not, without starting the whole stuff of Falco and maybe?
Yeah, I mean, you can attain the same result from another perspective, such as like GitHub Actions running, sanity checks in each PR, which is something that's, we want to work on, I think, because now that we have them separated in another repository, we need regression tests for sure, and also versioning guidance. In general, I think this will most likely be, I envision this to be educational content, basically. So everyone wants rules will have a fast way to do it, and eventually also to test them on the fly instead of like having to install Falco with a given version and just run the tool. It's not a good user experience. Plus, sometimes it can be a bit ambiguous. You don't catch errors that potentially can make your rule not trigger. So if we have a better tool to do this, I think it will be very good for both contributions and also user base.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah, I agree. It would be a really cool project. And I think the way it works is that someone in the community, if they're interested in this project, they will submit an application, and we can get 2 interns, 1 intern, depending on, I guess, how good are the applications. But yeah, maybe like Jackie, you can help us to socialize that. That we kind of Falco is part of Google Summer of Code, and we would like to we are accepting applications, and like these are the guides how to write a good application, so on and so forth, just to get more interest from the community.
Have our proposals been accepted?
Actually, the PR hasn't been matched yet, but I mean, I don't think we will know before the deadline. And I'm not totally sure how the selection process works for the CNCF, because I think they have like a fixed set project slots, and there are more projects than the maximum allowance. But so I think our mission is to create a very good description and like try to sell the idea as much as we can. I think it's interesting from a technological standpoint. So I really hope that this will go through, but you never know. Best case scenario, we will have a new person contributing to the project, which is great.
Yeah. As soon as that happens, let me know, because I think one of the other things we'll need to do is, just like Ajamal mentioned, is create like a blog with guidelines on, how participants need, just basic information around how to participate.
I see. So the next step is for CNCF to actually select among the proposal that are gonna, it's weird, I don't know. Yeah.
So the CNCF participates to the Summer of Code as an organization, and I think they have allowance for a fixed set of projects. So I truly don't know if they're going to be the ones selecting which projects to actually submit, or is it going to be the Summer of Code doing the selection? Either way, we're going to have a response, I think in the near future. So we'll see about that.
I guess we need to
it's
give it like the security, like space, and like kind of the need for something like this a lot, so they kind of can see the difference between so many other proposals. But okay, this is cool. Thank you. I think I will leave my falco.org reviews to the last, because it's it might take like a little bit of time. So how about we go with the last update on the agenda, and I can show you the falco.org preview. Who's insertum?
Melissa.
Oh, Melissa. Do you want to go?
You're on mute, Melissa.
All right, I was just gonna say it's actually gonna take a little bit of time too, so we should probably stick to the plan and talk about the falco.org first.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool. Okay, so don't judge me too hard, but as you all know, we've been working on updating the falco.org, and I have shared the like proposed designs on and created issues, and I attached the designs to those issues. And I think generally, like from the meetings, it's been like, yeah, cool, keep working. So I kept working. So. And this is the current like stage website. So bear in mind that a lot of not a lot, but like a few things are still like a work in progress, and a lot of links and descriptions here and there. They may not really be they don't make sense, but here it is. So this is the website. And that this is the new landing page for falco.org, that has like one sentence highlighting what we do and a little bit like gets a little deeper into what like what exactly we do, like in terms of like Kubernetes and cloud security. And we have also highlighted like what makes us different. I've seen like many open source projects that they kind of try to differentiate themselves from million others, and we have highlighted like 3 main things, which is cloud native, real time protection, and we open source developing and work in the open. And you can read more of like what we mean on each in section. There will be a little section added here. It wasn't ready by today's meeting, I apologize, but it's more like addressing use cases of Falco, which is container, host, Kubernetes, and cloud security. But I will share the designs in the Slack channel, so you can comment as we go. And again, this is something that I was talking about, that the news and the descriptions don't make sense yet, but I'm going to work on that and add the proper videos and proper descriptions. But yeah, we'll have featured videos, news, events on the landing page, so people can know what are the community artifacts, where they go, where they can meet the community, where they can join the events, and the same, the Slack channel, YouTube channel, GitHub. And again, this text, they don't really make sense, but we'll fix that, and highlighting that we're CNCF project and our end users. So this is the landing page, I guess, one of the big changes. And another big change is that we, like all these sections, they currently exist in our falco.org. One thing that we added is about. And as I mentioned before, about Falco is where we talk about Falco, give gentle introduction to Falco, how it works, all its components, why people should use Falco, and so on and so forth. So this is what is Falco, and just it gives introduction, like securing, like from source to run, like some graphics that explain the architecture of Falco, how it connects to other things and other projects, and also like plugins, and also like Falco Sidekick. The next section of why Falco, it basically highlights all the features that we kind of haven't summarized it yet, but the main things that we decided to highlight about Falco, it's like scalability, performance, single policy language, and like flexibility in terms of deployment options, and how it's customizable with plugins and outputs, and so on and so forth. And again, like it's one sentence summary that goes deeper, and you can add more resources that users can read, and like breadcrumbs living everywhere, so people can always have things to read as a follow-up. The thing that I was talking about, Falco use cases, about host container cloud securities. It's basically like very high level overview for like some like very first time lurker to understand what exactly what are the main problems that Falco solves. In Falco ecosystem, is the goal here is to highlight the rich ecosystem of plugins and integrations, as well as vendors and end users. And we needed to group the ecosystem in terms of like tech ecosystem and also kind of like people's ecosystem. So that's how we approach this solution. So all the plugins, and like users can go and like go to the guide and build their own plugin, or they can ask for like integrations to be added, like create an issue to add a new integration. And if we go to vendors, it's basically vendors that use, there's one issue that where we're pulling this information from is from the current website. Just moving it here. We'll add the end user logos here, and we would want to have also very detailed case studies once we have them, and they will show up here with logos, the titles, the authors, so on. Sorry, I might. Okay, and the users that don't have case studies, the logos that they will just show up here. We weren't able to complete it for today, but next time. And then we have Falco FAQ. It's basically the summary of like most frequently asked questions, like through Slack and other platforms about Falco, and very short kind of crisp answers. And this can be expanded because it doesn't have a lot of questions. They're just on the list, but in future, like if we have a lot of like Q&As, we can like group them according to different like topics, themes. Yeah, that's it for this about page, which is the main, like I think, edition. And the rest of the page, we're like updating the styling, the content stays the same. The only thing that we're adding is this Falco, try Falco, that users can click from the landing page. And try Falco is supposed to have like very easy, quick tutorial for users to try out Falco. And the content we're working on, Vicente is working on the content for this 4 tutorials, and he will be adding that, I believe, by next week. And we can go through them, test them, and complain if they don't work. We're updating the community section a little bit to make it like a little bit lively, like add hopefully in the future we'll have our like community meetups, like photos here, and the current links we're not losing any links. All the links are here. We're just grouping them together and making it more I don't know, to match the design and the feel of the rest of the website. The trainings, nothing here yet, but we will make sure that they will also get updated. About the blogs, please don't mind the photos. It's just we're kind of testing a few things, but one thing that will have the blogs will have is tags that users, authors can add to their blogs, and we will add those tags manually to the current blogs that we already have, and the user will be able to click the tag and kind of filter the blogs that have the same tags. Maybe it's like new release, or maybe it's a news or ecosystem related blog. We just wanted a user to have an ability to quickly search something and find it faster. So that was the solution, but we haven't implemented it yet. So please don't spend much time reviewing this part, but maybe pay attention to about section at this point, and by next week we can have more complete website that you can review. I will share this this link. I will add this to the agenda, so you can all go. And the best way for you to give feedback, you can either open issue on GitHub, or just ping me on Slack, on Falco Slack, and just share all your complaints.
Could we do some feedback now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this it's styling, the look and feel is very slick. The only thing that I would say is I'm not sure if you have this listed anywhere, but like some of the market differentiators between Falco and our competitors like Cilium and Tracy and Pixie and stuff like that, like CTOs who are not going to have time to read through all that stuff. At least ours don't. So
Yeah,
that
I
would
think,
definitely be helpful.
yeah. One thing about that, I think we tried to cover that in why Falco part. And yes, it's not very obvious, but we can't also go and be like, hey, we're better than Cilium, we're better than other, or this is, it's kind of, I don't know how to approach that, and I'm happy for like feedback from others on, but what we try to focus on, yeah, we understand that that's what makes us different, and we just wanted to put it in like why Falco like section without actually like comparing like different technologies right there. But I don't know if that's actually recommended, or like just to go, oh, this is what Falco addresses that other projects do not address, and calling out the projects. It's not, I haven't seen that in CNCF projects. I'm not sure if it's allowed or if it's in a good faith or.
So what's also could be difficult is to keep this up to date, and it may be very specific to your environment. If Falco is better or a different tool is better. So I would be very cautious with that. And I like the approach of just highlighting what Falco does well, and then everyone can make their own choices. And by the way, oh my gosh, I love it. So finally, I can just give people here a link, read through everything. And, you know, because I'm getting so many questions all the time.
Thank you.
You also have to know this is not the final look and feel. Basically, we are working to add new sections, organize them to have a smoother user experience. But the CSS and JavaScript stuff or to create the website are completely not done. And the final, basically the mockups we have are a little bit different about the global design and what it looks, what it will look at the end, especially about the size of the images, the size of the panels, all stuff that make designers happy.
Sure. Yeah, that's it on my end. Yeah, please share your feedback. And yeah, we can move on to the next item. Melissa, you wanna?
Yeah, I can kick it off. So the best probably would be for everyone to navigate to this issue. So Jason tried to summarize it. I can try to summarize it now, but I would suggest to keep it a little bit more high level to speed up getting to a conclusion. So the main issue is that currently in Falco, the event types that correspond to a system call, there are some cases where there are overlaps. For example, if you want to subscribe to the accept system call, right now you just put accept, but in reality, you would want to activate accept and accept for. And this also leads to the ambiguity that in Falco, if you look at your event types, you don't actually know if that event was accept or accept for. So there's also actually a lot of downsides to it. So our proposal is to require Falco rules to call the official system call string name. And so that's kind of like the conclusion we need to derive here, and then we can dive into technical details. But I would like to pause here and just collect some initial feedback just based on that high level information.
So what is the feedback that you're trying to collect here? Like
that if it's a breaking change, so we would like to require everyone to write in their rules event type is in except for if you want to subscribe to all the accept system call variants. So you would have to type in the exact string names that are associated with the official system call and the official kernel documentation. So the same, another example is umount and umount2. So those are also two overlapping ones, event fd2. They're currently not in the default upstream rules, but people may be using them. So it's a big
let's say the most critical is the accept one and accept four. The others are quite marginal in my opinion. But yes, they are breaking change.
I think we can put it like on two different levels because the Cisco selection feature is not yet released officially. So maybe most users don't even like, care of that much right now because they don't see the difference. But either way, for Falco, this means that if you match an event type accept, you're going to match both accept and accept for. So the breaking change in the rules is just making your event type checks broader. So the migration plan is easy, but still worth mentioning because otherwise your rules doesn't trigger, and accept is pretty valuable as a Cisco. Second level, I think for just libsins or libscap users. So in this call, maybe Mauro or you, Terrell, I would say, this means that if you went through the API in libsins that accepted ppm SC enumerations to select which syscalls need to be collected in the kernel side selectively, this means that now you're going to have two different events, one for accept and accept for. Same goes for pipe 2 and pipe, you mount 2. There are not that many, but and I think the change is pretty valuable because the less we make this ambiguous, the better. But still, people need to be aware of the change. So that's what this issue is for. So I think the question is, does anyone have major contrary opinion on this, or if everyone is good to go, we can just go on with the refactoring. And by the way, this was going to be released by Falco 0.35. So by the time the next libs tag will be released, the whole enumeration is going to be consistent. That's the target.
Question. It is possible to create a migration plan. I mean, the set of syscall that will map to multiple syscall, I believe it will be a small set. So maybe we can just write a document, or maybe we can provide some macros in the rules just to help the user to migrate from the previous behavior to the new one. I believe it's feasible. What do you think?
I think we can write a comment or either update the issue and eventually report that in Falco release blog. I think adding a new macro is just as much work as adding a new syscall in the list of event type check you're making. So eventually, it's a very tiny change. It's just a very little, and I think it's going to be easy for practitioners to update based on this. But yeah, we can document this and make it part of like the release change log and everything.
Yeah, we can have also a tiny blog post if you want. Just 10 lines.
What do you mean? Tiny blog post? We have to write a long blog post.
I think the best way is to include this in the release blog when people are going to use the next Falco. This is something that people should be aware and read off. But
yeah, exactly. Because my only concern is that even the migration plan, I believe the user should take not so many action to migrate their own role set, but we have to make user aware of that, because I'm pretty sure there will be a lot of users that just will update Falco and will not notice the issue.
So I think it's just a list of JSON 6.7, like in the default rules, it's really accept except for, so that's an easy change. But I would actually like to touch on the different architectures, what we should do there. So if you do set UID or set UID 32, so now is the discussion, do we want to go with consistency and also require people to add set UID 32, or is that the overlap case we are okay? Because under the hood, we totally can handle it. So yeah, Jason.
I think that's my personal opinion is that we may want to keep the overlapping in there. It's just useful, but yeah.
Andrea, Federico.
Yeah, probably if you want to change all the syscall that involve the version, maybe 64-bit or 33 bits, they are almost, I think, 15 or something like that. So probably we cannot address them in just one shot. I would correct the most relevant one, for example, accept, you mount, I notify, pipe, something like that. And I would leave this one with the change of the version as last one, and maybe also for another release, I don't know, but not now.
Yeah,
because we have no time to address all of them. They are almost 20, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm on board.
Okay, so then I officially summarize. So cases like except for. So Federico, we can maybe merge your PR first. I can unhold, and then Andrea, you can rebase the next one around
Yeah.
you.
And just one last thing about that setUID and setUID32 is that setUID32 is not defined purely in almost all architecture unless you use something like 32 bits, and same for other cases like F control 64 and all the other cases. So purely you can address them, but they are not so relevant.
No, yeah.
I'd be totally fine with keeping them overlap, actually. So.
Okay.
Oh. Thanks, Melissa, for driving the conversation.
Okay. And, perfect. For everyone on the call here, so maybe one highlight is that now you can tap into generic system calls. They were tracked as generic under the hood, and not generic system calls, but so for example, init module. So currently the Falco rule to load a kernel module is based on just spawn processes. It's very easy to bypass. Now you can tap into init module system calls. So that's probably also an upstream rule we want to update soon.
Yeah, that's super powerful in my opinion. And we always forget about this, but it's a really critical point, for example, for init module syscall, as you said.
I haven't gone through this deeply. Which is one question would be about the usability of the rules. Is this going to put more burden on the people that are writing the rules to understand the semantics of all of the system calls? And if so, what are the ways to mitigate that?
I personally don't think so, because we are much used to do the same thing for, take for example, the open system call family. We have openapp2. We usually create eventually a macro when the list grows. And I think this is just one of those cases. I actually think that having two different variable syscalls with the same name, it's more of a burden than a benefit. So yeah, I don't think this is going to have any more complexity than we already have, let's say.
Actually, full disclosure, at some point I thought it was a bug that you don't subscribe to except for, but then I looked into the source and I was like, oh, it's overlapping. It's actually tapped into, but I never quite liked it. And yeah. And also, so I don't know what your first name is, but also to highlight, so all of this refactor is under the new umbrella to make Falco only subscribe to what it actually needs. So in the past, it used to be that Falco activates a whole bunch of system calls, even though, for example, you only tap into spawn processes in your rules. So now it's really, you can tailor Falco in terms of performance overhead based on your rules. So all the system calls you define there, only those will be activated, and a small subset that we need for Falco to run and build them some internal state, most notably the process cache table. So I think this whole new feature for Falco 0.35 will be like, hey, we now support what you thought Falco was doing the whole time. So that's kind of like my opinion. So I personally thought like a long time ago that Falco would actually really only subscribe to the system calls based on their rules, but that wasn't the case. But it will be the case soon.
Awesome. Okay, anything else you guys want to add to the conversation? If not, we can wrap up and get back 7 minutes before 10.
I don't really ever recall using the whole hour for the community call. So either we had really interesting stuff to discuss or we're terribly slow. I don't know, but
It's a good
and yeah, we have another issue from Melissa about brainstorming in the key features of Falco, and also yeah, we can collect some feedback from everyone, in my opinion. So everyone could add something, could add something at the end of the issue, and I wrote it. I wrote something in it some minutes ago, and don't know if we collect the opinion of everyone, we can have a better plan, in my opinion, at the end of the day. I will share the link, yeah, obviously, because otherwise.
I just share the link on the chat.
Okay, super cool. Thank you.
Yeah, Andrea, if you can, please put it in the agenda as
Yeah.
well, so that
Yeah.
we didn't sync. Thanks.
I mean, we could totally still fill the 7 minutes. There's so much to discuss, but I don't know, maybe just to give people highlights of with Andrea.
Oh,
we're
this,
discussing a lot of the eBPF verifier and how it kind of, it has gotten a little worse. So that's a topic we could discuss at some point, or if you want to join in on the issues, and also with the LSM hook. So what we just touched on with the syscall selection was really just the tip of the iceberg, what's going on under the hood in terms of refactoring a lot.
yeah, this is far too ambitious in my opinion. Like we're not close on the LSM stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah, there's some blockers that need to be discussed there.
Yeah.
plus
So
the whole like roadmap, like you suggested, maybe on the 18th we can discuss how we, because for open source project it's different type of roadmap planning you need to follow, because everyone's here voluntarily, right? And but still it would help the project to, or for people to be informed about what's coming up next, so they can get involved, or they just are more informed, right? And so I personally would like to push more for threat detection features in each release to kind of like balance out refactors, making the code base better, doing refactors to support future threat detection features, but also in every release really to up the game to catch the bad stuff even better. That's just my 2 cents here.
I think that's the direction that we're going, in my 2 cents. I think that the LSM hooks are a great way to do that.
Awesome, cool. We have more meetings before we meet at KubeCon, so there will be more chances to discuss forever. But yeah, thanks everyone. I think this is it, end of our agenda. Hope everyone has a good Wednesday and rest of the week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye all.